Hi, everyone. So my name is Zuza. I'm the co-founder at Lenslist. And I know I only have like 5 minutes, but I really want to talk about basically our mission at Lenslist and how it kind of evolved throughout the years, or this year specifically since the 5 minutes. So basically, our core mission statement is to popularize AR, democratize AR, basically make the technology even bigger than it is right now. And to put it in practice, we were basically focused on supporting the whole ecosystem, especially the creators and the platforms providing the software. So doing that, we created, for example, one of basically the biggest right now, directory of AR examples, so references to existing AR effects, filters, lenses. We also post lots and lot of content about AR, feature creators and their work. And we also work with platforms like Meta, Snap, Niantic, TikTok to kind of activate the creators community around their products, around their software, and also just spread know-how. And we organize also a lot of hackathons, workshops to kind of educate the market overall. And in this process, we kind of became an ecosystem of its own. We do a lot, and this year each year we really try to have like one specific thing we want to focus. Basically, searching for what the creators or platforms need in this specific moment in time, just because XR is moving super fast. And this year, the answer was basically business, meaning all of us need more resources, business opportunities to move on this journey and be sure that the bet on AR was basically the right bet for all of us. So our answer to that was reimagining our platform so that it can provide a 360 service on any AR project. And what it means is that any marketing agency, brand could start from the ideation process through tech scoping, development, finishing up with knowledge retention within our one platform. And the free products or services I want to focus today from us are, for one, the AR search engine. The second one is the consulting and XR Bazaar that I will mention at the end. Here's just a quick video, and I want to go through what the AR search engine actually is. We were able to build it. We actually just launched it 2 weeks ago. We were able to build it on top of the directory, and here you can basically filter all of the references by platform, industry, category, and you can also go directly or click through directly to the effect itself and to the creator or a brand that published the effect. Or also, in case you're looking for a very specific effect, like maybe a twerking Shrek or something, you can just use the search bar. And you can also create mood boards within the platform. So we kind of tried to tailor the solution to the needs of marketing agencies, their ways of working, their workflows. And it's also a collaborative tool, so you can leave comments, ask questions, note which one specific reference fits the campaign the best. I think that's, yeah. And now the consulting part. We've been doing consulting for a long time, but it wasn't very organized, structured. And I think what's really important to note is that, us, creators, we all need the business and we have the know-how. And kind of what the business needs is the know-how. So for us, providing this match of these two, let's say, cohesive aspects is what we really want to focus on right now. And yeah, the toughest part with consulting is that you don't really have one thing, one ebook that will work for everybody, for every brand, every company. But we try to kind of figure out what are the key issues or key questions brands, marketing agencies ask. or have issues with when trying to start an AR project. So starting from actually pitching or scoping tech-driven solutions through like really maximizing and taking advantage of these solutions in their marketing campaigns, or even like jumping on the metaverse train to engage Gen Z into Web3, but like not really knowing what all of the words mean. And then finishing up with, of course, scouting for the right partner or the right creator, collaborator for the project. And here's where XR Bazaar comes in. It's also a new platform. We launched it back in April. It's still in beta, but we already have over 1,200 portfolios. So it basically means we have like over 1,000 people or creative studios ready to collaborate with any brand, any marketing agency on AR projects. And here, just noting on 3 specific ways brands can use XR Bazaar. So first, they can easily just search for creators or studios, for example, based on the location or the language they want to use in collaboration. They can just post offers on the job board, or just pick scouting and basically come to us for a recommendation. And that's it from me, but I just want to finish with like the last remark. That we've been through a lot with our platform. We had to pivot and change directions many times. And this year specifically was very tough for our platform, and I believe for a lot of people in the industry. But we still we still keep going because of the mission we started with. So we really want to popularize augmented reality and make it even more popular, make it a regular everyday thing for not just thousands of people, but millions, hopefully billions one day. That's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Gutmann. I'm here to replace the creative director. I'm a generalist artist originally from Syria. I'm part of Kaza Creations, the development team of Rising Tide and other games as well. So today I will talk you through Rising Tide. Rising Tide is a game currently being developed with aid of Vienna's Wirtschaftsagentur. We are Kaza Creations. We are a team of 9 people. So quite small studio. We make games that talk about topics such as migration and climate change. So such topics are our bread and butter. Okay, so why should we make a game about climate change? Well, for us, it's now or never. If I might quote the IPCC report from April 2022, they said that the climate catastrophe is a most pressing topic for now and in decades to come. It is of utmost importance that we keep this topic center stage also in education. But we have the feeling that schools are failing to communicate that with their students somehow. For example, the other day I heard 2 teenagers talking in the train that they have learned more about climate change from Fridays for Future events than at school. So what schools are lacking is the question. And another question is, can games actually solve that? We believe the answer is yes, as we've seen with our previous games, such as Path Out, where you play a Syrian gamer kid who had to flee his country at the age of 18. And that kid is basically me. The game basically showed some success, and we worked with UNHCR to bring it to schools around Europe and got translated to various languages. So yeah, it works. Game works somehow. Okay, so now climate change is a complex topic, of course, but how can games change that? Well, we believe games can offer fun, which is something other mediums maybe lack. We believe that games can offer learning by doing and high engagement, as we see kids playing these days. All right, so what's the gameplay of that AR game? What's the gameplay of Rising Tide? Well, if I may make you imagine a classroom where the students are taking off their chairs and putting tables together and then taking their tablets, and they will all engage together in an immersive experience where they will learn how their choices can affect our planet, and also if they don't make any choices or if they only focus on what's good for them as a team, how would that affect Earth, meaning losing the game. So let me talk to you a little bit about the user interface of the game. We're aiming that globe will be the main interface, also including a more detailed view on the tables. The players will also be playing in factions, in teams, so role-playing will be a huge part of this game. As you can see, there's the industrialist, there's the scientist, there's the activists, so each of them has their own goals, and sometimes that goes against the planet. And so the players have to find a way to save that, or to find a middle ground between each other. All right, so how do we know that this hybrid form of game works? Well, we've worked on similar projects before, such as Vienna All Tomorrows, which the players play in the parties of a dystopian Vienna in the future, and they have to find a way or a middle ground as well to succeed. Okay, and so we've taken everything we've learned from that experience, Vienna All Tomorrows, and we're putting it in an XR game about climate change. And the game is currently in alpha testing in schools all around Austria. Upon the release of the first public version, which will be in 2024 Q1, it will be used by the Austrian NGO Global 2000 for their workshops across the country. All right, we already have very exciting developments in the later directions. An adaptation of Rising Tide will be part of the European Capital of Culture 2027 in Liepaja, Latvia. All right, thank you all for listening and tuning in. If you want to test Rising Tide, it's in the Hall X1. We are booth PG9. I will repeat, X1, PG9. See you there. We're happy to show you the game. We're here today and tomorrow. Thank you all for listening.
So hi everybody, my name is Ben. I'm one of the co-founders of WAVA. First I want to say it's a great pleasure to be here with you all and with this great panel. 5 minutes are never enough, as all my panelists will agree, but we will try to run through it as fast as we can. On a personal note, I usually start these presentations with talking about how my personal interest in public space interventions come from demonstrations that I was involved in back in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem in 2015. Confronting right-wing politicians with their statements. I won't go too deep into it because of the growing calamity in the region, but it's still important to know that the cause or the core of my and our interest in this is our strong belief in the transgressive political, cultural, and social potential of public space interventions. So what do? We developed a platform for the last 3 years that basically allows for virtual art to take place in public space. It's site-specific, so we use, you have to have one of these slides, we use augmented reality and GPS to make specific videos, sounds, sculptures, or any kind of form of art that could be transmitted in a virtual medium take place in public space. For the people sitting here, this is by no means novel, obviously. We're here in the peak of what this technology can be, or the people who are the brightest minds in the field. But we still feel that there's a huge gap between what this technology can actually do and what people can actually manage to do themselves when they're not tech savvy or they're not very, very high paid, I don't know, or have very deep pockets. One of the most important things in site specificity is that it can, by making a work appear in one place, again, it's kind of obvious, I guess, to most of us, but it's still important to think of the fact that when you pin a work to a specific point, you also allow it to be experienced at the same time across different devices, making it hopefully a communal experience, so having a potential for a communal experience. So we're not in an echo chamber and we're not in our own bubble. We can actually share it with our immediate social surrounding. This is a small presentation of the last exhibition we had in Frankfurt, which was called Demo, so demonstration or democracy, in which we invited 6 fantastic, internationally renowned artists. One of them is even sitting in the room here. Her name is Tamiko Thiel. She was talking here before, one of the pioneers in the field. And we basically invited them to intervene with the public space around the city center of Frankfurt, contemplating on different notions of demonstrations, nationality, and democracy. In this sense, the work we see here is by Flaka Khaliti. There was also works by Ahmed Ogut, by Tony Cox, by Le Truc, and some others. What you see here is also the beta version of our app, which is available on the app stores. So that's that. And if you're ever in Frankfurt, please do hit us up. A few slides to kind of talk about other reasons why we do what we do. So, of course, the art world, like many other fields, is not the most sustainable of them all, and we think that by shifting some of the energy towards virtual spaces or virtual possibilities, we could help with that. It's a fun fact is that it's actually, the art world is producing the same amount of carbon footprint as the entire country of Austria, which is where we are in. So that's, fun fact. Perhaps more immediate in its effect is when we look at this map that showcases what, again, most of us probably know, is that culture is not very equally distributed across the world, and cultural institutions is not the place, it's not something that, like we're here in Vienna, where you have gazillions of museums in every corners and theaters and places that could be, where culture could be produced and experienced. And we do believe that by enabling institutions, curators, artists, and people around the world to present works and to lower the bar of accessibility to this technology so that they could create exhibitions in their own public spaces could also help with redistributing access to culture and empower communities to use that. How we're doing it is basically, maybe it's a bit important to talk about also the thoughts behind the infrastructure, the economical ones. So if big institutions that spend a lot of money on developing their own apps for shows instead would produce the shows with our app, they would also then, with this budget, help sustain the infrastructure that will allow others to use it. So it's instead of spending a lot of time and labor and money on each trying to do their own app, we try to get all these people together and then create some kind of a communal economical aspect to that as well. It's also maybe important to know that we are incorporating as a non-profit limited, so we are trying to really, we're really focusing on this social aspect. This is a cute little slide to show all the different possibilities that could be in a beautiful world where you go into a city and a place and you can experience all the different things that the augmented layers could add to the existing cultural map of the city. And basically our vision. I think that's pretty much kind of like the important things were said already. I think to sum it up, we do strongly believe in the ability of culture and art and the importance of it in order to shape and to reimagine our societies and our political spheres. And we think that every move that is happening in the empowerment of others to create within this world is a very important one. And we know that many of the people here are also involved in this. So we're happy to try to contribute our share. This is a small slide that validates the fact that others have thought that makes sense as well. And that's it. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to your questions.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Richard. I'm a co-founder at Nettle. Nettle is a startup based in Bratislava, Slovakia, just across the border here from Vienna. At Nettle, we specialize in conversational artificial intelligence and digital human holograms. You're probably wondering to yourselves, digital human holograms, kind of know what that is. This probably reminds you, Star Wars. Hopefully everybody has seen the original Star Wars. So we've kind of improved on the hologram that Princess Leia was. We've added conversational artificial intelligence and speech and voice augmentation as well. We're still working on R2-D2. We don't have quite the technology for R2-D2, but hopefully in a couple of years we'll be able to do that as well. So we provide an end-to-end platform, so it's not just the holograms, it's not just the conversational AI or the hardware. We actually create the natural processing, the natural language processing, natural language understanding, as well as the conversational AI, all of the algorithms, the machine learning, all of that stuff underneath the covers. We create the avatars and the animations for the holograms, and we also provide all of the hardware and the connections in between, meaning the integration to all of the other technologies that customers can use for either transactional-based kind of events or for deploying them anywhere that they need to in their specific business requirement. Ultimately, in the end, we create what's called a phygital customer experience. It means it's immediate, it's immersive, it's engaging, and it's autonomous. Here's a little bit of a couple of the milestones. If you look back, it's only a couple of years since we were creating banner bots with chatbot technology, and now we're already creating phygital digital experiences for customers in banks, insurance companies, and automobile manufacturers as well. This is the shameless plug for Self slide. Here's some of the achievements. Won't talk about those. But what's really interesting here is on the right side, you're looking at customers that generally don't like to innovate. Banks, financial institutions, automotive companies maybe, but in their vehicles, not on the sales side. So the fact that we have so many banks and car companies looking at this space is really interesting, and it might be a good message for everybody that this is a space that's really growing and we see a lot of potential in the future. So it's not just something that we're imagining. We've actually deployed our first digital human hologram. It's a virtual banking assistant. It was the first virtual banking assistant in Europe. It's in the Bratislava branch, the flagstone branch of Slovak Sporiteľňa, which is an Erste company bank. Erste company is the largest financial institution or financial services provider in Central and Eastern Europe. They're based here in Austria. And we deployed Vesna, that's her name. So Vesna actually helps customers when they come in. She can answer bank-related questions. She can also do transactional stuff like block a card or open a bank account or talk about maybe a mortgage or maybe a loan kind of requirement that a customer needs. Like I said, we built all of the technology from scratch. Fun fact here, the bank hired also a fashion designer, literally a fashion designer, somebody that does fashion, and they designed the outfit for Vesna. The bank didn't like it the first time, so they had to actually create another outfit for Vesna. Probably the most expensive part of the entire project, hiring the financial advisor. It's not just for banking virtual assistants. We've actually deployed in a number of different areas. You can see some of the form factors here. This is, again, the hollow fan display. Imagine that you have a presenter on a stage like this. One side you have a digital, or one side you have a human, and on the other side you have a digital human, and they interact with one another, creating a hugely interesting phygital experience. We've also deployed Vesna or a Vesna-like digital hologram at events, conferences. They can act as a concierge or an assistant or a guide, and we've also created multilingual, multicultural kind of scenarios for digital holograms. We were recently in Dubai, and we had a multicultural version of the avatar for that market as well. Super interesting. And finally, we're moving up to the higher end platforms. We've now moved from the digital holo fans to the holo box. You can actually see this in PG1 come by. All of our technology is there. You can see that the technology has grown tremendously. In fact, it's going even to the next level. These boxes are about 8 to 10 inches deep. Newer technology is flat panel displays, no more glasses necessary. You can actually interact in a 3D kind of environment using the newer technology. But this stuff is really cool. Come by, you can actually speak with, our newest one is called Maya. Maya will talk to you, ask her questions. I like to ask her Chuck Norris questions. What's, a good Chuck Norris joke? She's really good. She knows a lot of them. So I absolutely recommend that you come by and have a look. And again, here's another business example. So you're thinking to yourself, what's the business case? What's the business solution? A car manufacturer has asked us to create a phygital experience where there'll be kiosks. They'll have a digital holo human with interactions that they can do. People can actually configure their car, and then they can also schedule a test drive using the application, go to the dealership, have the test drive, and hopefully buy the car in the end. And this is car shopping reimagined. So that was sort of a level 1 car shopping experience. The level 2 car shopping experience is taking the box, putting 4 of them beside each other with a very thin bezel, creating a digital car, a holographic car that you can actually spin around, open the doors, look in the engine, change the colors, and you have Maya or Vesna or some other digital holographic human answering the questions about the car. She can even sell you insurance or financing. Thank you very much. Please come visit us.
Okay, so hello everyone. It's really nice to be here. My name is Yasmin Asan and I represent Voxel Architects. I'm a real-life architect and a metaverse architect at the same time. And a bit about me, I am trained formally in architecture, and I worked in world-renowned architecture offices such as Bjarke Ingels Group in Copenhagen. And throughout these years, I had the opportunity to work on incredible projects, both on Earth and in space on Mars. And I think all this experience equipped me with all the skills that I needed in order to transition to virtual architecture. So I believe virtual architecture actually encompasses everything that we learn as architects, from light, form, materials, the way we design the brand identity, and also the way we do the scenography of the space. So basically the story. So for me, metaverse architecture is just a direct continuity with social reality. So we at Voxel Architects is a metaverse development studio, a pioneering one. We design metaverse experience in various virtual worlds and leading worlds. And so we started from working in traditional virtual worlds, and now we have expanded to XR technologies. So this is the virtual headquarters, which is hosted on the platform Worlds. And this is what enabled us to do an AR app that could showcase our portfolio. So this virtual headquarters basically is our office. And it also has a gallery space, conferences, and party venues. And basically what we did here, we have this showcase of various projects that we transformed into AR. So for instance, this one is Frida Kahlo's Red House, which is actually a digital twin of Casa Roja in Mexico City. And it showcases the early works of Frida Kahlo's art, and why it's really a learning experience, and it has the purpose of storytelling and archiving all this information that otherwise is not available in the real life building, which cannot be visited. So I think this AR, in general, AR architecture has a great potential for the clients and for the designers as well, because basically we can go on site, we can have this building, and we can check the specific measurements of the building. We can gain insights of all the details and all the problems that might appear, and we can foresee them and create a faster and more efficient process of designing. So it's actually a very efficient communication method to use these AR filters within the real world. And I think in the future, we will have to integrate this AR layer within the design process, because this is what can actually make this world make this process very fast and can aid the communication between the teams, and also aid the project planning process. So, for instance, this is the Unpaired Club. This is one of the largest venues in a Metaverse Music Festival. The way we design the buildings is that they are interoperable, and they are already set for an additional AR layer. So basically what we do is just add this specific layer to all the buildings that we create. And what I believe is that we can, all this process of, sorry, it's the next one. So the process, the way we design everything, we start from the concept design. This is very similar to architecture in real life. This is where we plan the layout of the space. This is where we integrate the client's needs and identity and figure out how to navigate through the space, how the aesthetics looks like, how light and material is working. And these are all studies we do prior to getting to the 3D modeling part. So then the 3D modeling part is basically all the professional teams will model based on the initial sketches. Of course, they add the environment, the textures, the lights, and all those layers. And then, of course, there's a layer of coding because engineers in the metaverse are developers. They code and they animate the space. And therefore, we can go to the final result, which is a building that can be deployed in various platforms, used in AR, and why not use it to showcase it to any client and basically generate this kind of portfolio where you can not only see the buildings, but you can also experience them. You can walk through them, you can navigate the space, and basically you're able to see the building from all angles and place it in a real life scenario. So this entire headquarters, which the Voxel HQ, which hosts this immersive gallery, is a very unique way of presenting projects to clients in the future, and I think architecture has a lot to benefit from it. So in my opinion, what I hope for is a future where we're not going to be, at home, isolated with our VR headsets, but instead I think we can be out there in this mixed reality scenario where you have architecture and urban environment, which is infused with these windows into the virtual reality with holograms, with augmented information, and with telepresencing with participants from all over the world. So this basically was the first step that we took here at Voxel Architects to bridge real and virtual architecture. So I hope you found that inspiring, and maybe other professionals from the industry can take a step forward in this field. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your latest experiences with us, your unique projects. Now we have some time to get questions from the audience that maybe I give you these, and maybe, do we have any questions about future of XR? They are building unique projects, and yes, it's your chance to talk. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, I thought, okay.
I want to ask, firstly, for voxel architecture, are you using Unreal Engine for your visualization? It seemed like it to me.
Just a bit. Like currently, we're mostly using Unity, but we're also using a bit Unreal Engine, but not so much in this time.
I want to ask, you talked about the augmented reality layer thing as a layer in the design process, in the architecture design process. The question is, do you envision using it purely as a visualization tool, and maybe, making your design edits in your computer-aided design and architecture softwares, and then checking the visualization repeatedly on your head-mounted device? Or are you thinking about actually working in AR for 7 hours and with breaks, and doing all the design and all the CAD work that you do with a mouse, then with whatever interaction you have?
Well, I think right now it's mostly a visualization purpose. So I think we're just at the beginning. So we're going to test. And of course, like I said, I think it's a tool that could help the communication between architects and the entire team, and in general with everyone, because it's a very interactive way to experience the space. But at the same time, in the future, I think AR is so much more than that. So the purpose could be, for instance, wayfinding. Like, let's take a simple purpose of wayfinding and having, guiding the user through space. Like, imagine you walk into a campus and you have no idea where to go, and you can have an AR filter that could help you to orient in the space. But at the same time, I think there could be even more educational purposes, like recreating a Greek or a Roman ancient city, which you can visualize in AR, and that would have a more educational purpose. So I think there's a lot of opportunities here. We just need to explore them more, and I think architects should be more involved in this field. That's why I'm super excited about this.
Do we have some more questions today?
Yeah. Hello. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. I would have questions for everyone, but just for the purpose of my job, I'm curious to hear from Lens List. With your platform, is your intention with that for social AR, clients don't need to necessarily pay for the build of every creative from scratch, and that they can reuse some elements, or because what we find often is for scalability in that space, it's quite expensive to do everything. So I don't know if that's the purpose behind it, or if I misunderstood it a little bit.
It's not really our key purpose for, let's say, reusability of the assets. We don't have like an assets marketplace on our platform. But what we definitely encourage is like stable collaborations between brands, marketing agencies, and creators. Because I think then, for once, you can, like you said, reuse and continue the same vision, the same aesthetic with a trusted partner. And then you can also include like more strategic thinking in exploring AR and what AR can do for a brand or an agency, instead of just like, you know, jumping from campaign to campaign, not really creating like a storyline behind implementing AR in whatever brand or an agency wants to do with their communication.
Yeah, thank you. And also a follow-up question, if I may. So I think you said something also about providing some post reports or something about maybe user experience or how long the users stay in the lens or something like this. What is your take on that reporting system in AR? Because it's still a little bit tricky, in my experience, to find out what a user does in a lens. Is that something that you're working on?
So it's, for now, the statistics and the reporting are really dependent on the platform you publish your effect on. There are some solutions like WebAR that are more customizable in terms of reporting, because then you can, for example, use outside sources. Like, for example, there is an app that can basically show you where the user actually looks at or like points at with their fingers and stuff. So there are ways to have more information from an AR experience. Right now, it's mostly based on like how many clicks you have, views, impressions. But I think for now, one of the most important statistic is time spent inside an AR experience, especially if a brand goes for, their goal is the brand awareness factor or engagement. And for example, with games or world AR experiences where user can actually like walk around the space and explore, interact with the space, then you can actually keep them there for, you know, minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, instead of just scrolling through 10 posts a second.
Thank you.
We can have one more question. And okay. Maybe I can ask one more question. That Ben, what do you think that for your next step with your project? That what is your in the future? What do you want to accomplish with your? I'm curious to know your vision. Next steps.
Thank you.
Some spoilers, maybe.
Some spoilers. So far, we produced 2 shows that were done by our own curation and our own composition, but where we, as I try to make clear in the presentation, where we're interested is to open it up for others to use. So I guess the next step would be we're working on forming some collaborations with larger institutions who have obviously more financial capabilities to do something like this, but then the stretch goal or the hope is to automatize the process as much as possible with time, so to have, while maintaining these like very high and expensive projects, that they will then fund the infrastructure that will then allow artists and creators and institutions in other places who have less financial capabilities to also produce the things. And when everybody kind of contributes to the same pot, then hopefully the infrastructure will survive and won't vanish like so many apps and platforms that are made project-based and then disappear when time passes by, or when financing ends.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Good luck. And thanks for joining us for this panel. That we would like to see you in And thank you, Zuza, Yasmin, Richard, Ben, and Jack. Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause for amazing speakers that shared today. Thank you.